posting this profit of £10.7 million for the 2014-15 season. The man sitting next to me, football finance analyst David Bick. David, I have to tell the watching viewers, you told me this the other day, that you expected them to be in profit. Is it the case here the figure is irrelevant, the fact that they're in profit is a relevant factor?
I think it is, Jim, given that they've moved the turnover up every year to record levels since Sheikh Mansour took over. And in fact, as long ago as last year when we were discussing these figures, I suggested they might just break into profitability this year, and that's indeed what they've done.
The thing is, David, how does it tally for a club who only last year, as we know, were fined and they had restrictions put upon them with regards to their squad size and spending for alleged breaches of financial fair play? How does this square up?
Well, I have to say I've got a fairly strong view on this, and they must still be very angry about that fine. My view is, and I've expressed it here before, is that UEFA levied that fine on Manchester City because Manchester City has money. In my view, there were plenty of other clubs to go after throughout Europe on those grounds. But I think they now need to treat that as history. This is a very well-run club, and that's starting to show through in the numbers.
And also, David, we take into account they've spent fortunes on Raheem, on Kevin De Bruyne. That's a huge spend on both of those players. In doing so, are they staying within the rules?
Yeah, they definitely are staying within the rules, and you've got to look at this very broadly in the sense that they can only spend what they earn, but they're continuing to increase their revenues. And sometimes we forget that they get the wage deal back down, of course, when they dispose of players or transfer players out. So I don't think there can be any question now that Manchester City stay within the rules.
Wages for this period, 55% of the turnover. What does that tell us, David? Why is it so important to keep this figure at a level, if you like, that the club describes as manageable?
If I go back to the days, Jim, going back a fair few years now when I was advising Manchester United, it was always a linchpin that they kept the wage to turnover ratio at about 50%. At that level, it's manageable. You should be able to turn a profit. You're not going to get yourself into financial difficulty. Somewhere in that sort of 50 to 60% bracket, and now Manchester City have hit that as well. So it's a very good sign.
New TV revenues on the way. I'm interested to know where you think City fit into the financial landscape, if you like. In general terms, would you say City are one of the best financially run club in the Premier League?
My view now is that they are at least one of the best run clubs in the league, probably the best. I think they've got very clear strategy. They're clearly very well run financially. I know people focus on Sheikh Mansour's great riches, but financial fair play now kind of makes sure that people have to behave in a fairly prudent sort of way. So I always view Manchester City now, when you look at the turnover number at over 350 million, they're starting to breathe down the necks of Manchester United.
And that will only delight Manchester City fans listening to this. They're in good shape financially. They're getting in players, albeit they're spending fortunes on those players. But by and large, City have got it right.
They have. They've got the balance, Jim, in terms of making sure that they stay within those ratios. If you remember, they did initially rack up very heavy costs on players because they clearly had, from the outset, a determination to have a squad that was going to compete at the highest level. They got to that point fairly quickly, but obviously at some cost. They've now got that kind of rolling, competitive squad at the top level, and now they've got the costs under control. They've got a clear way forward. They're expanding what they're doing to other countries. It's quite an impressive story.
Sure is. Sheikh Mansour in charge and doing a good job at City, it seems. David, thanks very much indeed.
Pleasure, Sir James.